Good morning, everybody. My name is Gary Parker. I'd like to welcome you on behalf of CNT Associates to this presentation today, which is brought to you in association with the Royal Borough of Greenwich and the UK Shared Prosperity Fund. We have invited other people as well to attend this because this is a kind of open forum. It's called Ask the Experts, and I've got two of my colleagues here today who I will introduce shortly. But we cover quite a wide range of areas here, from fundraising and business development to website development to online platforms and a range of other things as well. So you can ask us any questions. If we can't answer any questions for whatever reasons, we'll refer you or refer it to one of our other colleagues. So I'm sure we'll get you the answer that you want. What you're going to get this morning is you're going to get three short presentations. We'll start with Sybil and then Rodo. They'll introduce themselves in due course, and then there will be one from me on fundraising. So, but after each presentation, please feel free to ask any questions, or you can wait till the end, whatever suits you. As I say, you'll get three short presentations. And then we'll take questions after each one, and then we'll take further questions after all three presentations have been finished. All of them are very short, 5 to 7 minutes, really, possibly a bit longer with one of them. So I'm going to hand over to my colleague, Sybil Mayard. If you can introduce yourself, Sybil, and share your presentation.
Thank you, Gary. And I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay, good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining us today. So my name is Sybil Mayard. I've been working with CNT for the last few years now. And my background is in website design. So I provide web design and development services to small businesses. And during my web design career, I have worked with a range of small businesses from within various industry sectors, ranging from creatives to consultancies, to well-being organizations, to e-commerce and fashion brands and tech companies, and much more. So what I do is I help small businesses to improve their online presence through better website design. And that's what we're going to be talking about today in this presentation. It's all about creating an effective website for your business. So first of all, why do you need a website? Everyone is talking about having a website nowadays, but why is it so important? So one reason is traffic from search engines. Google processes approximately 8.5 billion searches per day, which is a massive number. So you don't want to be missing out on this huge opportunity to be found in search results. So if you don't have a website, you're potentially missing out on that large amount of traffic. Now, there are things that you need to do to your website in order to increase its chances of being found via search, but we'll mention that briefly later on in the presentation. So other reasons why you need a website: it works for you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, all year round. So even whilst you're asleep, your website is working hard for you, getting these customer inquiries in, and if you have an online store, getting those orders in and making sales for you. It increases trust and credibility. Many people will research a business online and have a look at its website before deciding whether to contact you or to request your services. Customers are more likely to purchase from a business which has a website. And unlike social media or other platforms, you have full control over the design. So if you take social media, for example, every profile has the same format. It can't really be changed. Whereas with a website, you're in total control of how it looks, how it's structured, and what content you put into it. And you're not locked into a specific layout. So that's a few benefits of having a website. Now, the key to a successful website is thorough planning. So before you even start about designing and building a website, you need to consider a few things here. So think about how much time you have available, whether you have a budget for this project, what are your skills and what are the requirements. So when we talk about requirements, there could be, what is the purpose of your website? Is it to make sales? Is it just to gather leads? Is it for collecting inquiries? And thinking about your availability and your budget, do you have the time and skills to build the website yourself, or will you hire someone to do it for you? Continuing with the requirements of your website, you want to think about what pages you want to have on there and the types of content you'll be uploading. So usually the standard pages you would have on homepage, about us page, contact page, and a page with your services or your products. And then there could be additional pages that you might want to add to that. Do you need any specific features like a blog post feature or a photo gallery? And will you require any additional functionalities like maybe a newsletter sign-up form? You might want an e-commerce platform to sell your products, contact form, maybe a chatbot perhaps. Now, it is possible to build a website for free, and we'll look at a platform that will enable you to do that in a second. And using a website builder is the quickest way to get started. So nowadays, it's very rare that you would hire someone to build or code a website from scratch. It's much more common nowadays to use a website building platform. It's very quick and more cost effective as well. So we'll look at a few popular builders on the next slide. So website builders are online tools that enable you to create a website without having any knowledge of coding. And there are many of these available out there. On this slide, we've listed a few of the common ones. Shopify is a very popular e-commerce platform. WordPress is one of the most popular website builders out there today. It powers, I believe, around 1/3 of all the websites on the internet. It can be used for creating an e-commerce store as well if you add the WooCommerce plugin to it. There's Wix, and Wix is a platform that allows you to start for free. So they offer a free plan. So it's a cost-effective way to get started if you just want to quickly create an online presence without any cost. If you do want additional features like accepting payments through your website, online booking for appointments, or removing the adverts from your site, then you will need to upgrade to a paid plan. There's Webflow, Squarespace, and many others out there. So when you're thinking about what platform to use for your website, I would recommend taking 2, maybe 3 maximum, and comparing and contrasting the costs and the features, and then deciding which one would be most suitable for your needs. So here at CNT, we specialize in Shopify, WordPress, and Wix. If you do have a website which is on a different platform and you need some support with that, then we may also be able to help you. But the best thing to do is to get in touch with that with us, and we will let you know how we can help you. So here are a few tips to bear in mind when you're building your website. Keep to a consistent design which is in line with your brand. So usually your branding will include a logo and a certain set of fonts and colors. So for the most professional look, then ensure to keep in line with your brand by sticking to those colors and fonts on your website. Don't use too many colors and or fonts. Again, using too many different colors and fonts can make it look messy and unprofessional. So simple is better in most cases. High quality photos or illustrations. So in the ideal scenario, you would hire a professional photographer to take your headshots or product photos. If you don't have the budget for that, then it is possible to take good photos just with your phone. However, you will need to spend some time experimenting with the settings on your phone and with the lighting to get the right kind of effect. Clear navigation and logical structure. So your website should make it easy for your website visitors to find what they're looking for. So this goes back to the planning stage of things. When you're planning your website and you're thinking about the pages that you want on your site, it's useful to create what's called a site map. So a site map is a diagram which shows you how the pages are linked together, and this will determine how your website is structured. No annoying ads or pop-ups. One thing I really dislike is coming onto a website and then getting bombarded with adverts or things popping up, special offers, newsletter sign-up forms. I just click the cross to close all of them because it's not what I want to see. I just want to go straight to the information that I want to read. So please try to avoid any kind of distracting elements on your website, because if you do these, chances are your website visitors are going to leave. Your website needs to be responsive on different devices, and by responsive, we mean that your website should work well on a desktop as well as the smallest smartphone and every device in between, so tablets, iPads, laptops, etc. It's a good idea to test on real devices. So if you can get a hold of an actual laptop or tablet, or ask a friend to check for you, that's the best way to test whether your website is working properly and it's responsive. Your website needs to load fast. So we say it should load within 3 to 4 seconds. Unfortunately, people's attention spans are getting shorter all the time. So if your website doesn't load within the first few seconds, then they're likely to leave and go to a competitor website. And website speed is also a factor for SEO, which is search engine optimization. So your website rankings can be affected if your site is loading too slowly. So make sure you don't have too many elements on your website that could be slowing it down. Things like large images that haven't been compressed or large videos. Even too many fonts can cause it to slow down too. And make sure your website hosting is appropriate for the amount of traffic you're getting on your website. Make sure to include the legal information. So a common mistake I see people making is forgetting to add things like their terms and conditions, their privacy notice. If you have an e-commerce store, you will also need to include your shipping policy if you're selling physical products, and you need to include a returns policy as well. And all this information is legally required, so make sure that is on your website and linked into the footer so it's easy for people to access. Then lastly, on here, we have work on the SEO or search engine optimization of your website. Now, this is a very large area which we can't go into all the details of today, but basically things that we talked about like logical structure, fast loading, responsiveness, that can help to increase your website rankings and increase the chances of people finding you through search engines. Other things you can do is adding content to your website on a regular basis, and blogging is a good way to do that because search engines like websites that get frequently updated with new content. Then our last slide here is about driving traffic to your website. So there's many ways of marketing your business, and I always see your website as the central core of your marketing, because most of these other platforms are ultimately going to be linking to your website, and that's where you want to be driving the traffic to. Now, you might have the best looking website out there, but it's not going to do much good unless it's getting traffic and it's making money for you. So you need to get people onto it. And here's a few different ways you can do that. So we talked about search engine optimization. So the big search engines like Google, Bing, for example, making sure you're continually improving your website and helping it to rank higher in the search results or help you get more traffic. Social media, so you can put links to your website on your social media profiles. Google Business Profile. So this is a free tool provided by Google, which allows you to create a profile for your business. You can put your contact information, list of services, and other things on there, as well as a link to your website. So when people are searching for services around their area, if your business is in their local area, then it may come up in their search. Blog posts. So you can put links to your blogs, as we said, in social media, but you can also write blogs on other websites as well. So there's blogging platforms like Substack or collaborators. If you have people you work together with, you may ask to write a guest post with on their website, and ask if they'd be happy for you to link back to your own website from that site. Email marketing. So when you're sending out newsletters, you might want to put links to your, again, to your blog posts or other pages on your website to drive traffic. QR codes. So this is particularly useful if you're at an event, for example, and you want to drive traffic to your site. You can create a QR code with which links to a particular page on your website. Paid ads, these can be set up on platforms like Google, Bing, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and other social media platforms. And their ads are a good way to quickly drive a large amount of traffic to your website. The downside to this is it can cost you money if you haven't targeted your ads properly. You may get a large amount of traffic, but not many people converting. By converting, we mean actually buying a product from you or a service. We got flyers and posters, so traditional offline ways of marketing, and finally business cards, which you can obviously give out at networking events and other events. So that concludes my short presentation today. I hope that was helpful. So if you're planning a website, planning to build a website, or you have one already, then here are some tips to keep in mind as you're doing that. And I wish you all the best with your website building.
Thanks, Sybil. If you can stop the share now. Thank you. Okay, I will take, Sybil's covered a lot of ground there, so I will take any questions from people. Has anybody got a question for Sybil? Can't hear one right now. You can put it in the chat as well, if you wish to do so. Sybil, I'll ask you a question. What is the one piece of advice you would give to the audience today about what you've covered? Because you've covered quite a lot of ground.
Yeah, I would say that try to keep things simple. I know there's a lot to it. Just even in the area of website design, there are so many things you need to consider. So I would go through these one at a time. There's a lot of resources out there, YouTube tutorials, many of which are available for free. Our channel, our CNT Associates channel on YouTube gives you some useful tips as well as a starting point. So really it's just a case of, I think, being patient, using the resources that are available to you, and also reaching out for help whenever you need it.
Okay, I'll ask you one final question then. If people are looking to develop their skills in this area that you've commented on, what should they do, or what should the next steps be?
I think the key here is practice. It sounds obvious, but you can't develop your skill in something without practicing it, and that does take time. So you need to think and to set aside some time for it. Even if that's like a couple of hours per week, and the main thing is to be consistent and do it on a regular basis. So if it's website development that you want to improve your skills on, make sure you dedicate some time, maybe every week or so, and stick to that schedule so that every week you are making a little bit of progress.
Okay, thank you for that. And Sybil will be staying around if you've got any questions later. I'd now like to introduce my colleague Rodo. Rodo works in the tech field, but it's rather different focus, but I'll hand over to him to explain. So over to you, Rodo, if you want to share your
Thank you very much, Gary, and thank you, Sybil, for the great presentation. And I'm gonna have a different approach on that. And let me just start my presentation, and I'll do the sharing. Yeah, that's it. Okay. I'm Rodo Orellana. I'm head of design and innovation at Rocketvan. Rocketvan, we are a studio design and development. We are based in London and Barcelona. My business partner is there. You can feel from my accent that I'm not British. Those are more or less what we do. We are consulting. We do consulting for our clients. So basically, we assessing any projects in tech and doing feasibility reports. Sometimes we have an idea. We want to see if it's possible, which kind of technology we use, if it's how long it's going to take, which technology, if it's addressable or not. We do the user experience design and user interface design. There are a couple of things that are different. We do web design, not only on doing websites, but we're creating plugins for those that are familiar with, as Sybil was mentioning earlier, WordPress or Shopify. They have their own capabilities, their own functionalities, but sometimes every business they have we have our own needs. So we expanding those, creating new features for them. With the mobile, so we're helping launching and creating new mobile platforms. And we started to integrate AI and machine learning, whether it's using existing platforms like ChatGPT or Claude, or creating their own algorithms. And we are specialized in prototyping. So most of our clients, they come in and they have an idea and they want to test the waters, because to mitigate risk and poor return of investment, is better to interact with your users. So I'm going to have a different approach in that sense. I'm going to go through some examples that we've done, so you understand that having a website is very necessary, and without it, I think, we don't have any presence, as well as being on the social media. Now we agree all that we must be, but also that you can create your set of tools and expanding what you're doing online, and that's what we do. Actually, we're helping businesses. They have challenges, or they have ideas to expand their workflows, and that's why we help. So we'll give you a couple of examples. In this case, for instance, is a Shopify website for our clients. Our clients, I give you a bit of background. They designing and printing children books, and they are very successful because they're focusing on kids. They have autism, so they're focusing on very simple design and the stories for them to overcome some challenges they might have. They wanted to, because they are based also in London. Now, obviously, we are a diverse society, so they wanted to be able, the hero of the story, to be representing the parents' kids. So this was demanding a lot of post-production. So people, they were sending a personalized character, and they say, okay, my kid is blonde with a curly hair, and they like this outfit color. So they had to go open the files and do it manually. This was demanding a lot of time. So they came to us, like, how we can do that. So basically, we created a character personalization add-on on top of Shopify. So we expanded the possibilities of Shopify, and now you have a configurator of the hero and you can make, as far as the design of the character is, look and feel like your child. So it has been very impactful because people, they love it. Even the name of the character is implemented on all the text and everything, and also the genre of the kid. So we help them to save a lot of time, because now the books, they are automatically done, sent to the printer, and the printer sends it straight away from the client. So as Sybil mentioned before, an e-commerce works 24/7, and this one, it does. So they're optimizing their workflows, and also they can sell to other parts of the world because the books, they are made automatically. Another example of how you can create your own tools, it can be for a platform where you have two different users. This is for medical purposes. So we have a clients there. They are as obstetrics and gynecologist, private sector and private clinic, and they wanted to offer a better experience for their clients. Obviously, it's maternity, and they wanted to keep in touch with their patients and also inform. So we created an app and a web app where the medical staff, they can keep updated their records. We started using AI to help also to the patients to understand a bit the jargon, because most of the times we're going to visit the doctors, they explaining what it happens, you understand, but once you're home, you only have the latest records, and everything is written, on the jargon, and you want to know more, even, the all the tests, blood tests, on all the medical tests, MRIs and so on. So AI is started to help. For now, we are in a very early stages, but that's one of the things that we do. We implementing this. We're creating mobile apps for social media platforms. In that case, is a client of ours that they had different view of creating an app for influencers. Influencers today, they have different challenges, and selling their services online. They can get revenue, but they're always depending on a platform, also on brands. So this gives them a bit of independence, and they can even sell a post, or they can sell a live straight from this platform called Mayard. And then we creating dashboards. So sometimes there are a lot of tools out there that they can help you, like, workforce, but they are limited on customization. Every single business is different. In this case is a project manager system that we created for a fiber optic deployment company based in France, and they had to have somewhere everything was around spreadsheets, and it's very difficult to delegate some tasks on a spreadsheet, because people, they can accidentally delete some cells or some formulas, and everything goes wrong. So they wanted to keep it different, because for instance, in this sector, they have different different actors intervening in one project. So you have the project manager, you have the field manager, and then you have the engineers deploying the cables and connecting all the interchange boxes and everything. So we created a platform where all the information is there. We can run some reports automatically, and then the mobile app that it gives all the projects, and the interaction is instant. So for giving a bit of a taste of expanding more and using more digital tools, there are lots of them. They are off of the shelf that you can adapt to use, but also you can connect them. So one of our jobs today also is they have already different tools, but we're connecting them to make them work together. This called by a technique connecting by API. So it's one of the ways that the software they talk each other, and that's what we do. If you have any questions that I cannot answer today, you can book a call with me free of charge. So and you can explain what is your challenges today and everything. So I'm happy to take any questions if you have in terms of challenges or even ideas you want to share or questions about technology. I'm happy to answer them.
Okay, thank you for that, Rodo. Has anybody got any questions for Rodo? Yeah, from the guys who, can you build prototypes if someone has a concept?
Yeah, that's one of the main questions that we have in. So a prototype has different levels. You can do we always need to understand why you need this prototype. Are you looking for investors, or someone is gonna invest in your project? You build a different prototype. You do more mock-up. Do you want to test a bit of a functionality because you are not sure if people they will use your app? Because that's very important. At the end of the day, you're building something for your audience, not for yourself. Unless you have money and you wanted to do it, but usually you want to become a business from it, so it needs to be sustainable. So yes, you have different ways to create a prototype. We are in attempts to create a prototype for an organization that they do for youth in Barcelona, and they're fighting against addiction. So most of them, they are digital or drugs or alcohol and everything, and they ask us to create a prototype of a game. And they wanted obviously a digital version, but we said, let's start with a physical one. So the mechanics is the same, but we create it with the cards and everything. But this will be the base for them to get more insights and seeing how people and users they interacting with the game and the mechanics and the questions. And if the interaction works offline, then we can pull it online. So there are lots of techniques, but yeah, my answer is you can do any prototype as simple as you can, even offline doing with carton box if you want.
Yeah, the guys are saying prototypes for someone looking for investors. How does that work, Rodo?
Yeah, obviously now the field of that's a good question, Gary, because investors they want to see a lot of things, and before with a PowerPoint maybe 10 years ago, and a very strong network, you could unlock a lot of funding, but now they are very cautious on what they're gonna fund. So they want to see sales or interaction, and for that you need something that it will work, and it will have a bit of interaction already with the final user. If you're making sales, it's perfect. That's what they want to say, that it is very viable. But if it's not, it means that people they're using it. So to do that, I think the best thing is focus on the main feature the main problem you want to solve. For instance, those ladies they wanted to create personalized books, and that was the main unique selling point. The thing they wanted to solve this problem. The fact that they had to do it manually, it was a bit stopping. So then we created kind of a first prototype with a simple hairstyle, but then we seen that people, they were very keen to use it. And then we deployed all the color scheme, outfits, and so on. So my advice is start with the very, solving the first pain point that you want to offer to users, and making sure that people they're using and they're willing to pay for it, even if they're not paying, but they have a simple way to understand that people they want to use your tools is they're registering and they start using them, and this can be free or freemium. let's say you can give them for a month or 2 months, you know, that's the period that they can start using it. If they already sign in and they're using it and they do anything inside that is the purpose, I think that's what the funding can be unlocked, among
Okay.
other things, but this is very important. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Rodo. Anybody else got any questions for Rodo? Okay, thank you for those. We're going to move on to my presentation now. I'm going to, because we covered technology, because it's a very important aspect of business these days, but I'm going to now look at something more fundamental, and that is funding. So you're going to get a very short presentation from me on this, and then I will take questions. Let's just find it. Okay, so yeah, we're going to go back to the top here. These are our contact details for today. I'm going to show them at the end as well. That includes our YouTube channel, where this presentation will be in due course. We'll start with some top funding sites here. There's a few here. This is the best place to start if you're new to this. The Government Finance Hub, we just had a change of government, so this is a good place to start looking. There's a link. You can do a customized search, and it's got hundreds of potential funding sources on that. The second one is Funding Central, which some of you may be able to join for free. It is a pay site, but if you're a small organization, an individual, or a non-profit organization, you may get it for free. They leave you to self-identify on that. But again, it's got a significant number of funding sources on it that you can research and potentially access. Another one is the Entrepreneur's Handbook, which is very good site anyway for anything to do with developing a business. And you've got the 60 pages of information on grants and loans. It is UK wide, but it is very comprehensive. The next one is Sage Advice, which is promoted by the accounting software company Sage, so it's obviously in their interest to support small businesses, and that's got a very good section on grants for small businesses. The Government Grants Hub is a smaller version of the Government Finance Hub, but it does cover all sections. And then one of the other providers I put on there is an organization called Grants Online, and there's their website, grantsonline.org.uk. This is got a paywall on it, but you can see the actual funders. You just can't click through to their website, so you can do an independent search if you wish, once you've identified potential funders. And finally, there is your local authority. So I live in Greenwich, so it's royalgreenwich.gov.uk, bexley.gov.uk, Wandsworth, wandsworth.gov.uk, etc., etc. Here's some specific support. I won't go into detail about these because time is getting on. The British Library provides a lot of free events online and indeed in person. Smallbusiness.co.uk does what it says on the tin. It supports and represents the interests of small businesses. They do have a number of competition. They had one recently where you could win £25,000 to support your business. Charity excellence is one for the non-profits, if there are any here today. It covers a very large amount of ground, and there's a lot of potential funders on there. My Funding Central, I've already mentioned that, but again, there's a range of support you can get to access funding information. And finally, Enterprise Nation, which is Britain's biggest private sector business development organisation, and they have a lot of events, networking and training that's either free or very cost effective. Here's some new funding links. I won't dwell too much on this because you can look them up. Startups.co.uk. That's a very good link on how to apply for funding. The British Business Bank is a government-sponsored bank that provide a lot of gateways to finance for a lot of small businesses. Sybil and I did an event with them about a year ago. And they have a lot of influence on government policy and work with a wide range of finance providers. And you can get information about all of those on their website and how to contact and access them. Simply Business, again, this is a business support website for small businesses. They have a link there on grants access and how to get them. And finally, some energy related schemes. I'm not going to dwell too much on that because these have significantly reduced recently. A year or so ago there was quite a lot of them, but you can still check that out if your business is dependent significantly on energy resources for whatever reason. Here's another organisation that you can get some support in London. This is the London Business Hub, which is run by an organisation called Grow London, which is a London-wide organisation. The coverage in parts of London is better than others. We get some referrals from them here in Southeast London as well, but they're managed by London and Partners, which is a big business development organization. Here's another potential source of funding for some of you, which is crowdfunding. There's one or two different types of funding. There's Dragon's Den type investment, which Seeders and Crowdcube, who I've mentioned here, focus on. Basically, they will support you to access investor funding. If Seeders take you on, because they're the biggest in the world, they will get you the funding, because if there's any doubt about your project, they won't take you on. They're very, very ruthless like that. But if they do take you on, I've had feedback from several of my clients, then they will get you the funding that you need. Crowdcube is a similar one. This is a British-based one. Seeders is American and is the biggest in the world. Also, if you don't know where to start or unsure about this, try crowdfunder.co.uk. Basically, as a small business, you put a project online and they will charge you between 4 and 9% of what you raise. Sometimes they have free offers, or where you don't get any charge, or they also have match funding opportunities. What that means is if you can raise a certain amount of money, say 5,000, their partners will match fund that up to a certain point. So it could be another 5,000. This is what they did during the pandemic with the Greater London Authority, and they're still doing some programs like that. The other one there is Kickstarter. Again, this is an international one. It used to mainly focus on creative industries, but it does cover some other areas of business now. So crowdfunding is a form of pitching for investment, and you put a project online and you also make a short video, but you have to drive traffic towards it, just like Sybil was saying about a website, because if people don't know where crowdfunder.co.uk is, they can't pledge any money for your site. So all of those worth looking at. A lot of you may never have heard of this. This is UK Research and Innovation. There's an organisation called Innovate UK, which is probably the biggest department or sector of this, but UKRI is it wraps around a whole range of other funding and support areas of government funding, and it covers a lot of different things, including developing people and skills, research, culture, impact, public engagement, responding to climate change, and a range of others, because there were so many I couldn't fit them on one slide. But that site is worth a look at. So that's a very brief tour. And of course, if you want more information on our YouTube channel, which is the details are there, you can watch a much fuller version of this, or we're actually doing a presentation on how to write a funding application in early December. If you're on our mailing list, which I presume all of you are, you'll be getting details. We did a mail out yesterday with all the information there. So I will stop that. So again, I've covered quite a lot of ground quite quickly. So has anybody got any questions for me? I was just looking in the chat there. Any questions for me?
If one is registered as a social landlord and they want to buy Section 106 housing, how do they go about that?
That's a good question. I think you would have to talk to either the developer, or probably the best way to approach that would be talking to the local authority in which that development is situated, because they are very conscious of the need for housing, and they will have a development policy. So obviously you've got to, I'd advise you to look at that, whichever local authority it is that you're dealing with, and then talk to the local authority itself through their regeneration department. You know, they're all different, so you have to find out, you know, where it is, which department covers housing and development, because you know, we deal a lot with Bexley and Greenwich, and the departments are rather different. They do the same functions, but they're structured in different ways, and they're called by different names. So you've got to navigate through that as well. I hope that's helpful. Any more questions from anybody on the fundraising side of things? My tip is look at that first slide that I put up, you know, my top 5 or 6 sites on there, and do you can do customized searches through most of those websites, and that should provide you with some updated information. We're in a kind of change period at the moment, because obviously we have got a new government in July, and they're still formulating their policies. The policy is to make it, which was reiterated in the budget last week, is still is to make it easier for businesses to access finance, but how that is entailed and how it transpires is a different matter, whether it's grant funding or making it easier to lend money, or borrow money rather, or it may be a number of ways and means. If I was betting on that, that's probably what I would say. There'll probably be some more grant funding. There'll also be maybe more local authority development agencies that are maybe willing to fund projects. We're seeing that in some areas already, but they're only for small amounts of money. But I suspect it's probably going to be another year before they are implemented, because they're still working out the details. And then with national programs, I know from previous experience, they will have to roll them out across the UK. So you can't do that overnight. But there may be some interim measures in the meantime, but it's still too early to say what they are. But we'll know fairly soon, hopefully, on what's going to be happening during the next year. And of course, we will bring that information to all of you. I think that convenes what I've got to say. Do either of my colleagues want to add anything to what they've said? Rodo, do you want to? We'll give you a last word because it's coming up towards 12, and then I'll ask Sybil to say anything.
Yeah, I just on my side, obviously everyone is embedded on now. Any company is a tech company, whatever we like or not. We're sending emails. We're not sending fax or receiving mails sometimes, yes, but embrace, for instance, all the AI. I know that it's hard. Sometimes you're scared or you don't understand, but the tools are very easy. It's conversational. That's a bit the big transition from previously. We had to, 10 years ago, we were using AI as developers and designers that we are into the fields, but now people, they can use it for their businesses. And the difference from in few years, or already you can feel the companies, they're using AI in their workflows every day. They will be way ahead from the competitors they are ready. So don't wait. Make sure that you understand it. You can ask straight away to ChatGPT how it works, how can I do on this, on that, how can I implement this. It's not always right. You need to know what you're doing, but and understanding all the facts that is offering, but start implementing, whether it's just creating images or creating content or improving some workflows. Because again, that will be the difference. Like in the past time when the Industrial Revolution kicked in, people they used to have factories. They were still using manual processes, and others they were using machines with the steam powered, so they could produce more quantity and better quality because they were. So that's my advice. It's like just take a chance, at least as Sybil was saying about developing a skill. So according to a couple of hours a week, if you're not doing it right now, and explore what what those tools they can do for me. I think it's very important for us as a small businesses to get and kicked in on that, because it will be the major difference from the future. That's pretty much what I think is
Okay, Rodo, thank you so much for that. Sybil, is there anything you would like to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to add to this. One thing you should always keep in mind is know your audience. When Rodo was speaking earlier, he briefly mentioned about when you're creating an app, for example, you're creating it for your customers, for your audience, and not for yourself. And I think that's a very important thing to always keep in mind at all times. So when you're planning your website, if you're building an app, or whether you're creating your marketing content, it's always important to know exactly who it is you're targeting that marketing content to. So thinking about what are their age groups, genders, interests, income, where do they usually shop at to buy their products. All these things are going to make you have a better picture of who your target market is, and it's going to help you ensure that your content is really targeted to the right people, and increase your chances of your website and your marketing, etc., and reaching that right target group.
Okay, thank you to Rodo and Sybil, and thank you all for joining us today. As I say, you will get copies of the presentations soon, and this presentation video will be on our YouTube channel. We've already got over 40 presentations on it already, and we're adding more all the time. So please, if you're not viewing it, please do and like and subscribe. And I'd like to thank you all for attending today. The next one will be in early December on how to write a funding application. For anybody who's interested in well-being, this is on our list. I'm doing a presentation on, and Sybil is joining me on funding for well-being projects next week. So if you want to find out more about that, then please get in contact, as it will be free to join for that. But that's 2 hours, so it's quite comprehensive. If you're interested or involved in well-being and want more information about funding and various other aspects of support, that would be worth joining. So thank you very much for joining us today. Rodo, if you can just stay on the line, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Okay, thank you, everybody, and we'll see you soon. Take care.